What's going on, traders? Andrew O'Connell with Pristine Capital coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is December 1st, 2021. Today we're going to talk about the price action in the indices. We're going to go through a bunch of sentiment indicators. We're also going to go through some back tests that I did using the TradeWell app and really just put this whole market sell-off into context. Before I do that, quick risk disclaimer: nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan, your own risk parameters. Last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your entire account to any one of my trades. Also, I just want to give a shout out and a thank you to everyone that's been watching these videos and everyone that is in the Pristine Capital trading community. We are building something awesome, and that is only going to accelerate into year end and into 2022. All right, so let's talk about these box scores. S&P 500 finished the day down 1.11%. You would think that it finished the day down like 10%. There were a lot of blood-curdling screams out there. We'll go through some of the names. They really had a lot of carnage. The VIX was up 14.45%. Nasdaq QQQ down 1.7%. We had the IWM small caps down another 2.25%. And the Dow Jones down 1.29%. Volatility elevating in all of those indices. And the breadth went from, fantastic in the morning, like 95% plus breadth in all of these indices. By the end of the session, it was very weak. Look at this, about 20% breadth in all of these indices. So this really was a huge gap up and then a big reversal. For me, I did do some buying yesterday. I was very selective, bought a few things. Into today's strength, I was not buying anything. Like, I saw there was like this crazy like euphoria on Twitter. I was like, oh my gosh, like the VIX is still at a really elevated level. I don't really want to mess around with that. And let's take a look at, the markets. Oh yeah, let's check out this heat map. So yeah, look at this. We had Apple is something I bought yesterday. And yeah, this was another reason why I wasn't really freaking out. Like, I got long Apple and Ethereum. So for me, it's like, okay, Apple finished the day down 0.32%. It's not really that big of a deal. And then my crypto exposures, we're pretty much flat. Like, we'll take a look at Bitcoin. It pretty much didn't do anything today. So it's kind of weird. Like, I guess if you're all in on the legacy markets, you're all in on the growth stocks, today was probably just like a horrible day. But it's kind of interesting. Yeah, for me today, it was just kind of like a like a choppy day. Here we have Facebook down 4.27%, Amazon down 1.81%, Tesla down big, Nvidia down big. And as I'm starting to look at these, I am starting to see some pockets of opportunity. Sectors, we had the semiconductors, which have been a big time leader, down 0.8%. On the really bad end of it, what really got the smoke was the ARK Innovation Fund, down 6.71%. Software was down 4.26%. Gold miners got crushed. Best performing sectors, we had utilities up ever so slightly, European financials up slightly, global autos flat, and we had healthcare, which was only down 0.18%. But yeah, pretty much a bloodbath across all these other groups. Style factors, same exact deal, pretty much a bloodbath across the board. We had the defensives, which was our best performer, down only 0.27%. So you can see that's very risk off. And you can see our worst performers were momentum and high beta. So just, everyone de-risking, taking off positions, etc. Let's take a look. Seasonality, real quick. Seasonality into the beginning of the year is actually supposed to be strong, and really into the end of the year, also very strong. But we're not really getting that strong seasonality as of right now. Let's take a look at these headline indices. So S&P 500, look at what happened today. So we really slipped into the abyss. We closed below that 50-day moving average. In the after hours, we are getting a little mini pump, just a bounce overnight. We're up 0.43%. But you can see we have a new monthly value area for December, and we're trading well below it. What's interesting is, we just exited November. This was the monthly value area for November. And it looks like pretty much where the selling stopped was right at that monthly value area high for the prior month. So of course, I always focus on the current monthly value area, but I also take into account, prior value areas as well. Even when the future value area starts developing, I start taking that into account. So yeah, this actually is a key level here. This like 44.88. We want to see that hold for sure. But yeah, we're below all the key moving averages. Really not looking good. My trend model's at a -3. So yeah, this not a good situation. But I must say we are very oversold. So I see a lot of people online, and basically like, the major vibe that I'm getting, like this is what I always see, like without fail. When the market's doing really well and it's just getting so ridiculously overbought, like it's not even funny, and like all the conditions are ripe for like, risk reward doesn't look good, everyone thinks like, oh, the market's never gonna stop going up. And then when the market gets like super oversold and a volatility event happens, like everyone just thinks the market's gonna keep going down in perpetuity. So like what I'm seeing is there's a lot of carnage in the markets, and yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible market could keep going down. We could get a gap down tomorrow, whatever. But I think the risk reward is starting to look, a little bit better here. So yeah, definitely getting a bit oversold on the hourly chart. We do have this S2 pivot down here at 44.67. So that could be a good level to watch tomorrow. If we do gap down, maybe that's a logical place that we visit. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq. Then we'll take a look at some of these areas that really got hit. Yeah, Nasdaq is just below this monthly value area now. So the Nasdaq is really where I've been focusing my attention. And I would love to see the Nasdaq, reclaim this bottom of value. We are getting a bounce, in the after hours. Yeah, the bounce is pretty small compared to, this big down candle. Let's take a look at a Russell. Oh my gosh. So this is the reason why, like, when I see people saying like, oh my gosh, this sell-off is just getting started, to me that's like, that could be the case. Like this time could be different. Maybe this is a crash just like the coronavirus crash. But this sell-off is not just getting started. The sell-off in the Russell started, it's the sell-off in the Russell, which is most of the stocks in the stock market, started on November 8th. That's almost a month ago now. So it's not like, oh man, we're just getting started. Sell-off started today. Like, sell-off's been happening for weeks and weeks now. Now what it looks like to me is, it looks like we're climaxing now. So you can see like a steady descent. Oh my gosh, price action is just very weak. It's kind of dribbling lower. And then the dam kind of broke. And now we're really getting like that panic selling. And the panic selling can continue. But to me, it's always a good thing. Like once you start to see the panic, you start to see stocks just going down like 10% in a day, like crazy stuff. To me, that's usually when I start to see some things that look like bargains. Dow Jones is down, just looks horrible, below the 200-day moving average. Well, let's take a look at some of these stocks that really just got clobbered today. DigitalOcean, this is one of my favorite names. And I've been long this one since like 40 bucks and change. I actually closed out of my DigitalOcean halfway through this extended range red candle. For me, this was the day where it was like, get out of the way. Oh my gosh. So I sold my Roblox that day. I also sold my DigitalOcean. I've been holding on to those for a while. Now this to me is like, okay, now we're down to 87. Like now it's where I'm like, all right, let's go. Like keep going lower. Like keep going. Because I think a name like this, it just starts to become more attractive, as it continues to lose these levels. But yeah, DigitalOcean really fell apart today. Roblox, this is another one. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, like it's all over now for Roblox, like it's done. And it's like, for me, I sold it again, on this candle over here. Huge red candle. Usually when you get a candle like that, that's when a sell-off is really starting for the most part. Now Roblox is finally tagging this 20-day moving average. So I'm like, okay, cool. Now we're getting a pullback to the 20-day. This is awesome. So yeah, this to me, finally getting a pullback. Cloudflare got sparked 12.77%. This one never made sense. I tried shorting this one with some mixed results. And this one, the dam, just finally broke on it. And what else? Yeah, the ARK fund. Let's take a look at that. ARK. Yes, this is down 6.77%. And ARK has been selling off again for a month now. So yeah, when people say like, oh, it's just getting started, like, no, like that's just not true. And ARK, so this actually is like kind of ominous. this is our yearly value area. So this is where the majority of transactions occurred in 2020. And now we're trading inside of that yearly value area. You can see we're trading down to like the exact level we found support at last time around. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens with ARK, but a lot of these ARK names just absolutely getting clobbered. And the thing is, with some of these companies, like Roku, for instance, like this is a great company. You know, I'm not going to enter Roku here because it's not one of my proper technical setups. I just don't want to get, you know, caught up in that. I don't know enough about this name. But I would think, like, as a stock, as a stock goes lower, for the players that actually drive the market, the risk reward gets better. See, at some point, you know, this is going to be like, okay, Roku, now it's at a reasonable level. You know, let's go for it. And Roku is approaching that yearly value area high as well. So kind of what I'm seeing is like a lot of these washouts, they've been going on. You know, it's not like the beginning. I keep reiterating that, but that's just like the common theme that I'm noticing. Trades for today, I didn't do any trading, so we can just skip over that. You know, I just didn't do anything. I was comfortable with how I was positioned. The VIX, look at this. Excuse me. I hate that. Oh my gosh. I had like this bar thing before I did this. Now my throat's like dry. But yeah, so I'm gonna be like choking while I'm talking to you. But I want to go through these back tests. VIX. The VIX closed above a 31, and this is not good that we made a higher high. You know, we're definitely, excuse me, we're definitely in this elevated volatility regime. And, you know, the market's not really going to get good until we break this. You know, we could have way more carnage to come too. And look at this. It's like the SPY, for instance. It's in the 98.8th implied volatility percentile. So if you want to get short, you know, via puts or something, like you're just paying out the wazoo at the moment. And yeah, this VIX is super, super elevated. So one thing I did, originally I was like, oh, I'm going to close out of some stuff if the VIX, you know, closes out on the highs or whatever. Started looking at what I had on. Like I have a cash buffer. Most of my exposure's in crypto. Crypto's doing fine. A lot of my stuff is more so like leaps, so I was like, I'm good now. Bitcoin, flat. It's only down 0.07%. It's putting in a triple inside day, and this one also looks like it could be bottoming out. I'm seeing, what else am I seeing? Solana. Check out Solana right here. So Solana, this is today's candle. It just crossed above the 20-day moving average. You know, to me, this looks good. We're getting a lot of good news on the crypto front. So yeah, the fact that I'm seeing crypto just like chugging along, and now everything looks to me a bit oversold. I just think the risk reward looks a little bit better. So I did some back testing actually, and I'll take a look. I'll show you what I found. So I back tested when the VIX closes above a 31. You know, that's my signal, because today it did close above a 31. I wanted to see, like, you know, what's like a reasonable expectation moving forward. And when you look at this, I have my signal set, you know, for VIX close above a 31. The black dots are when my signal triggers. The green dots is just all data. And the mean return on a 20-day forward basis when the VIX closes above a 31 is 5.42% versus a mean anytime return of 1.3%. So basically, like, if you get long on a VIX close above a 31, on average, you're going to make 5.42%. Versus if you just get long at any time, you know, on average, you're going to make 1.3%. That being said, if you look at this probability distribution, it shifts over to the right, meaning, you know, there's a higher chance of positive returns. And you can see, like, that's exactly what we want. Like, we want it to be like, okay, more odds we're going to be making more money. But it also exposes you to some fat left tails. And basically what that means is, like, when the VIX closes above a 31, odds are you're going to make money over the next 20 days. But if this turns out to be like the coronavirus crash, for instance, that's where you can get into big time trouble. So take a look. Summary table over here. So yeah, these are all the times when the signal has happened. The VIX closing above a 31. For the most part, it's happened at market bottoms. Like in 2015, market bottom. 2018, short-term market bottom. This other time in 2018 was another market bottom. The only time it really led everyone astray was during the coronavirus crash. Because during the corona crash, I think the VIX went up to almost to 100. So it could be that, hey, this sell-off is going to be just like the coronavirus crash. The market goes down 20-30%. That could happen. But yeah, the odds of that happening, they're pretty low. And when I look at, for instance, this summary table, the odds of being positive, 20 bars out when the VIX closes above a 31 is 87%. So yeah, you have an 87% chance of making money over a 3-week time horizon. Over a 60-bar time horizon, it goes up to 96%. So there's a 96% chance 2 months from now, the SPY is going to be higher than where it is today. And that's looking backward. So it's not like, oh, that has to happen in the future because it happened in the past. But this is just a look back at the past. So as I look at this market, I go, okay, now that I'm armed with this information, this to me doesn't really seem like, oh my gosh, time to get bearish or whatever. I noticed a lot of people are doing that. For me, it's, okay, let's weather the storm. So long as my portfolio is not falling apart on me, I can weather the drawdown, which I can, and I can be patient. For me, this is kind of like par for the course. Let's see what happens into your end. If things change, I'll take my stops and all that. But I actually think this is more of a good reward to risk spot than a lot of people think. Just real quick, we'll go to our VIGTech options order flow before we wrap. Let's take a look here. We'll go to our options races. Boom, Tesla. How much call flow are we going to see for Tesla today? Is it going to be 10 billion? 20 billion? No, it's probably going to be super light. Yeah, only 1.785 billion. Let's see here. We have SPY, Amazon, Apple. Some of the big boys coming in. Let's take a look at our matrix. And you can see Apple, a lot of call flow coming in, which is good. I like to see that. Let's take a look at this SPX. So we got a mix of calls and puts. Some calls coming in at the 3,000 strike and the 1,000 strike. Interesting. Let's take a look here. SPXW, a lot of puts coming in here. There's one very big call. Yeah, a lot of puts. And then QQQ, a lot of puts coming in for the Qs. So yeah, everyone's putting on their insurance now. It's like a 31 VIX. Who knows? Maybe they'll get paid out on it. But these are kind of like the panic puts coming down. Let's see here. We got Amazon. Mixed bag. So yeah, now we're finally starting to see some pessimism in options. Whereas before it was just every day, all calls. Yeah, it looks like people basically... Oh, what's this? Bank of America. A lot of calls going up for Bank of America. Let's check it out. BAC. Doesn't look that great technically, but yeah, it looks like players are getting bowled up in it. And let's see VXX. Mixed bag. We got puts coming in and calls. And then yeah, some of these stocks let's see Netflix. Yeah, because I was gonna say Netflix should do good if we're in a COVID lockdown. Yeah, that was the thing. They announced the first case of Omicron variant in the United States, and that really just triggered more and more selling. I think now at this point, a lot of these fund managers, they're just getting overwhelmed, and they're like, oh my gosh, now I have to liquidate everything. And it is what it is. Square, a lot of puts coming in. They actually changed their name to Block after the close, but look at this as well. Square was down over 6% today. And again, this is another one where this sell-off You know, it's not like the sell-off is just beginning. Look at this. We're down to the low end of this range. PayPal has also been taken to the woodshed. So it's kind of funny. Most people, you know, I'll just leave you off with this. Most people are like, oh my gosh, I could never buy a stock now. Like, I can't because, you know, they're going to sell off. And it's just like look at what you're seeing. Like, stocks have been selling off. So yeah, those are kind of my closing thoughts. You know, crypto still looks buoyant. So I think that's one of the main things is kind of keeping me more optimistic than most. Like, crypto is like the apex risk asset. If crypto is going down, that's like we're selling everything. So that could happen. Maybe the sell-off just leaks into crypto and all of a sudden it's like boom. Now Bitcoin just plummets, you know, 20% in a day. No, I'm kidding. No, probably not, but we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, I'm optimistic heading into the rest of the week. We will see what happens. Either way, we're going to weather the storm. So I appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I will see you all tomorrow.